Okay, hello. We're going to start today. You can either stay in a comfortable cross-legged position if that works for you, or if you are happy to come to sit on your shins, then you're going to come sit in your hero pose. Maybe you want to just prop a pillow underneath the heels, between the heels and the glutes. That can make it a little bit more comfortable. And then bringing the hands onto the thighs with the palms facing up. Take a few moments just to settle into your space. Noticing your physical sensations, your mental, emotional sensations, and your energetic sensations. We're going to work into building up some fire this morning, some heat in the body. And to begin this, we're going to activate into our Kapalabhati breath. This is forcefully exhaling, allowing the inhale to happen passively. You want to feel as though the abdominal muscles are pushing, punching into the lung area, forcing that air out. Trying your very best to keep your shoulders still and your face relaxed. We'll take 3 rounds, getting stronger with each round, aiming for about 10 in the first round, building to 15 and then 20 in the final round. Let's take a lovely deep breath in together. Exhaling all of the air out. Take a half breath in and begin. Exhale, chin to chest. Hold the breath out. And inhale, raising the face to center. Deep breath in, deep breath out, half breath in, and begin. Exhale, chin to chest, and hold. Inhale, release. Deep breath out, half breath in, and begin. Exhale, chin to chest, and hold. Inhale to slowly lift. Just hold here for a moment, feeling into the effects of your pranayama. The Kapalabhati breath warms us from the inside, getting the blood flowing faster, increasing circulation, helping to detox, working into the lymphatic system, emptying the lungs of all the old air. And then from here, we're going to make our way very slowly into a downward facing dog. If you've been sitting into your hero pose, you might feel that you've cut the blood off from the feet and the ankles, and therefore feel a little bit tender as you start to shift. So tucking the toes, lifting the hips up and back. Keep your knees bent to begin, and just start to feel how the circulation moves down the back of the legs again. You can start to encourage that movement with your heel toe of the legs. Feeling the warmth move down the legs again. Taking little twists from side to side in your down dog. Relaxing the neck, opening the shoulders. And then sinking the heels to the floor. You're going to either walk hands to feet or feet to hands, whichever feels better for you. Hanging into ragdoll. Softening the knees, allowing the torso to become really heavy. A little gentle sway from side to side. You can either interlock the hands around the elbows or let the fingers just dangle towards the floor. Preferably with the hands off the floor to allow that real sense of release into the torso. Let's come to the center, drop the hands, bending knees, and rolling yourself up. Rounding into the back. As you lift, inhale the hands overhead, interlocking fingers, turning the palms to face up. Reach your body as tall as you can, and then inhale up onto the tips of the toes. Press big toe and baby toe evenly to the mat. Drawing the heels down as you open the elbows out into cactus, lifting through the chest. And then sliding the hands behind you, interlocking fingers as you open up through the heart. Softening your knees as you gently forward fold, keeping the clasp in the hands and letting the arms hang over the back body. Dripping the torso forward, using your exhale. Drop the hands to the floor, bend your knees, rolling yourself up again. Engaging into the quads and the heels to lift. Very light in the lower back. Let's inhale, float the hands overhead, interlocking fingers, turning the palms to face up. On your inhale breath, float the right leg up, holding to your shin. And then work into some ankle rolls here. Nice big circles with the foot. And then change the direction, other way around. And then inhale, bring the left hand to the hip. You're going to open the knee to the side. Draw back to center, opening to the side. Draw back to center, one more time, opening to the side. And drawing back to center. Extend the leg out and lower to the floor. Inhale, hands overhead, interlocking fingers. Turn the palms up, reaching your body tall. Inhale onto the tips of the toes. Squeeze the calf muscles. Engage the inner thighs. Let's exhale the heels down and then float the left knee to the chest. Starting to work into your ankle rolls. And then change the direction of the rolls, other way around. Bring the right hand to the hip, inhale to open, and exhale to close. Breathing into this hip joint. One more time. and then back to center. Extend the leg out and lower to the mat. Stepping to the front of your mat into Tadasana, preparing now for sun salutations. On the inhale, floating hands overhead, and exhale to forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale, right leg into lunge, and then inhaling into plank. Lowering knees, chest and chin, and inhale forward into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here, engage into the legs. Shifting the weight to 60% in the legs, 20% in the core, and 20% in the arms. Inhale, right leg to the sky, and exhale, stepping forward into lunge. Inhale together, flat back, and exhale to forward fold. Inhale, hands all the way up. Exhaling, hands to heart. Round two, inhale, and exhale to fold. Inhale, half lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale, left leg lunge, hold for the exhale, and then inhale, plank, exhaling, knees, chest and chin. Inhaling, cobra, and exhaling, downward facing dog. Breathing deeply here. Externally rotating the inner thighs and spreading the sit bones wide. Inhale, left leg up, and exhale to step forward into lunge. Inhale, flat back, and exhale to fold. Inhale, hands to the sky, and exhaling, hands to heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, and exhale, right leg steps back. Inhale, plank, and exhale, Ashtangasana. Inhale, Bhujasana, and exhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Engaging into the core, feeling the belly, the lower belly and the pelvic floor. Inhale the right leg to the sky, and exhale, stepping the foot forward into lunge. Let's lower the back knee down and sweeping hands up. Lift up out of the lower back, stretching those hip flexors. Exhale, hands down, and inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, arms all the way up. And exhaling, hands to heart. Repeating on the left. Inhale. And exhale to fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, left leg back. Hold for the inhale breath. And then stepping into plank. Let's lower knees, chest and chin. And inhaling, lifting into cobra. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Spreading your fingers wide and placing the weight towards the forefinger and thumb. Open the shoulder blades. Let's inhale the left leg to the sky. Exhale to step the foot forward into lunge. Drop the back knee down and floating arms up on an inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale forward into flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhaling, hands to heart. Surya B, starting with chair pose. Inhale. And exhale to fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or hop into plank. Lower chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhaling, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, and then Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Connect to Ujjayi breath here. Inhale the right leg to the sky and exhale it forward. Inhale, lifting up, Virabhadrasana A, Warrior One, facing the short edge of your mat. Let's lower the hands down, stepping into plank. Lower chaturanga or knees, chest, cobra or up dog, and downward facing dog. Come back to the controlled breath. Inhale, left leg up and stepping the foot forward. Warrior One, facing the short edge of the mat. Make space in the lower back. Let's bring the hands down, stepping back into plank again. Lowering knees, chest or chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. Breathing into your down dog. Feel as though you are lengthening from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. You're going to walk, step or hop yourself to the front of the mat. Flat back. And exhale to forward fold. Finishing in chair pose, bending knees, reaching hands up. And let's hold our chair pose for a few breaths. Pressing the thighs towards one another without them touching. Anchor through the heels and lengthen into the lower back. Let's take one more breath here. See if you can sit just a little bit lower. And then inhale, stand all the way up, sweeping yourself back down, forward fold, interlocking fingers around the big toes. Inhale, open up through the heart, and exhale to forward fold, Padangusthasana. Tip the weight onto the balls of the feet this time. You can straighten or bend your knees accordingly to what works better. And now reach your head towards the earth as you flick your tailbone towards the sky. Make space for your neck. Inhale to lift halfway up, and now slide your hands underneath your feet. Maybe it's just the fingers, maybe it's the full length of the hand. Reaching head forward on your inhale and folding into Tadahastasana, Padahastasana. Reaching the shoulders away from the ears. Keep tipping the weight forward onto the balls of the feet. Even if you're squishing your hands will survive a few breaths here. Find space in this pose. Let's inhale to lift back up, releasing the fingers to the floor. And again, walk, step, or hop yourself into plank. We're going to hold our high plank for 5 breaths. Rounding into the shoulder blades. Strong into the core. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Make sure the legs are holding up a significant amount of the weight. You're either going to lower knees, chest, or chaturanga, coming down to the floor, all the way down to the floor. Bring your hands in front of you, hooking your thumbs. Remember which thumb is on top. And then lifting up arms and chest. Spread the arms away from one another. The thumbs are the only reason they're stuck together. Otherwise they would fly apart. Exhale the hands under the shoulders, sliding into a child's pose, just for 1 breath. And then back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. On your inhale breath, take the right leg to the sky and step the foot forward, Virabhadrasana A, Warrior 1. So you're facing the short edge of the mat. The back heel is on the floor and the back toes are pointing towards the front of the mat. Shorten your stance or make it wider to adjust your hips. Lift out of the lower back. You want space in the lumbar. On your inhale breath, bring the hands behind you, interlocking fingers. Lifting open through the chest. Let's come into humble warrior, folding to the inside of the thigh. Push your left hip forward, right hip back. And we're not resting onto that front leg, but coming towards the inside of the front leg. Lifting the arms over the back body. On your inhale, float the hands back up to the sky. And then exhale, hands down to the mat, moving through a vinyasa of your choice. Chaturanga, knees, chest, chin, or skipping the vinyasa entirely and coming straight to downward dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Let's inhale the left leg to the sky and stepping the foot forward, Warrior 1. So Warrior 1 is not as wide as Warrior 2. The hips are squaring to the short edge and you really push the back hip slightly forward. There's a natural curvature happening in the lower back, so make sure that that is in a neutral space. Don't over exaggerate it. Let's draw the hands behind you, different finger on top for balance, and then roll the shoulder blades together. Lift the chest, we're opening the upper body here. And then coming into your humble warrior, folding to the inside of the thigh. Push your back hip forward and squeeze your inner thighs. On your inhale, floating yourself back up to center. And then making your way into plank. Again, a vinyasa of your choice. You can also choose to come into a cat-cow pose if that feels appropriate for you. Making your way into downward facing dog. Lifting up onto the tips of the toes, bend your knees, slide your hips up and back. Feel that lovely stretch to the midsection of the back. Turn your gaze forward. Let's walk, step or hop. Flat back. And exhale to forward fold. Moving into chair pose, bend the knees, slide the hips back, and open up the heart. If you have shoulder issues, you can always bring the hands together at the heart. This alleviates a lot of the tension in the upper body and really gives you the space to sit nice and low into your chair pose. We're going to stand all the way up. So inhale all the way up and then straight down into forward fold. Interlocking fingers around the big toes. Inhale to open up the heart and exhale to forward fold. Maybe you feel there's a bit more space in the second round of Padangusthasana. Let's inhale to lift up and then slide the fingers underneath the feet, opening up the heart and forward fold, Padahastasana. Pada meaning foot, hasta meaning hands, and asana meaning pose, so hand to foot pose. On your inhale, breath lifting open through the heart. Bring the fingers back to the floor. Going to walk, step or hop into your plank pose, holding plank. And let's breathe here. Making your body as light as possible. And we do this by engaging into the tensegrity of the core. So from head to tailbone is active. Every part of the body is engaged. You're not carrying any dead weight around. Everything is helping in this posture. I'm going to move all the way to the mat now, knees, chest or chaturanga, to come down to your belly. Arms out in front of you. Remember which thumb you had on top last time and switch it around. We're going to lift up arms, chest and legs. We're working on length rather than height. Height will come once the body feels long and spacious. Exhale, releasing down, hands under the shoulders. Slide into a child's pose just for one round of breath. And into downward facing dog. Making your way now to warrior two, floating the right leg up and stepping the foot between the hands. Let's inhale, reverse cartwheel, warrior two. So we're checking that we're evenly balanced between front and back limbs. Gaze is at the front middle finger. This is your drishti point. Creating a soft, serene expression on your face. Let's reach forward into Parsva Konasana, floating the back arm over the ear. And you can choose how deep you want to take your Parsva, depending on what your body is asking for today. Maybe coming into the half bind, bringing the top hand behind the back, especially if your shoulders are feeling a bit tight today. It's really nice to take the half bind to relax the shoulders And then if you want to go into a more intense variation, the full bind is available to you as well. You're going to release the arms from here and then float yourself into reclining warrior, so all the way back. Softening into that front thigh and separating the ribs from the hips. Let's take us into a reclining triangle by simply straightening into that front leg. Notice how that shifts the pose. Inhale back to center, moving into regular triangle pose, extending the torso as far forward as you can before dropping the hand to the shin, the ankle, or the mat. Remembering this is not a forward fold, but a rotating pose. So you want to make sure you've got space to rotate the rib cage to the sky. Find a comfortable place for your neck. Leaning the shoulders back and the hips slightly forward. Let's inhale, come back up to center. Exhale to rebend the front knee. Moving into Ardha Chandrasana. Bring your back hand to the hip. And then slide your fingers beyond the baby toe side of that front foot, floating the back leg up. Open up your hip, open up your heart. You can float the top hand to the sky if the shoulder feels comfortable, or if your shoulder feels a bit tight, keep your hand on your hip. Again, we're working into tensegrity here, from heel to head. So if the whole body is not active in this pose, it's quite challenging. Once the whole body learns to support, it becomes so much lighter. We're going to come back into warrior two from here, so gently float your way back down. And we're going to cartwheel hands to the floor, stepping back into plank. Take it through a vinyasa of your choice. Resting into child's pose if that's appropriate for you. Slide back into down dog, and let's have everyone drop knees to the floor for a few breaths. You can have your arms in front of you, under your forehead, or next to your hips. Reconnect to your breath here. Find that flowing rhythm, creating both energy and release. One more breath. And then slide your arms forward for downward facing dog. Moving into warrior two on the left side. Float the left leg up and step the foot in the middle of the thumbs. Raising the back hand up. Checking that your front heel lines up more or less with the arch of the back foot. Balancing between front and back limbs. Very important to check the hip. If your hip is lifting, your whole torso is going to come out of alignment. So squaring off those hips. Opening the inner thighs nice and wide. Let's slide forward into Parsvakonasana. Holding here for a few breaths. You have time to deepen the pose should that be available to you. Remembering the half bind is lovely for everyone. So whether you have a strong practice or whether you have a more conservative practice, that half bind is really opening in the heart and the chest, quite releasing. You can come into the full bind if that's something you are starting to explore. Let's make our way back into the reclining warrior, lifting all the way up and back. Start to engage into the back quad a little bit more, especially if that front thigh is feeling a little bit wobbly. Moving into the reclining triangle by just simply straightening that front leg. And feel how you kind of get that telescope stretch. Inhale to the center line, extending forward for Trikonasana. Trikonasana is a lovely posture for feeling into the spiral energy lines, the Shiva Shakti lines. As you turn the top hip down and then you open the bottom ribcage to the sky, you'll notice how you're creating this spiral around the torso. Inhale to lift yourself back up to center, rebending the front knee. Let's come into our half moon balance, back hand to the hip, and then extend the front hand beyond the baby toe side, floating the back leg up. Reach head and heel away from one another. If you've got the space to open the shoulder, you can. Otherwise, keep the hand on the hip and you'll find how you really open the chest that way. So always modify the pose to give you the most space. You don't have to look like they look in the books. You have to feel into the posture. From here, let's land back into Warrior Two with control and grace. Floating your way down. Cartwheel hands to the mat and making your way through a Vinyasa of your choice. Feel free to come into Down Dog and Child's Pose if that's appropriate. Take a deep breath here. You're going to come to sit on the mat now. So if you'd like to try the hop, you lift up onto your toes, you bend your knees, you slide your hips up and back, creating a spring coil effect in the thighs. You gaze between the hands and inhale to lightly hop yourself to sit. Okay, let's get the legs out in front of you for Dandasana. Squaring the heels, hips and shoulders in a straight line. So I never practice with my feet together. I know a lot of teachers instruct that alignment, but I feel especially as women, we need to create a little bit more space. This reduces strain into the SI joints. Let's inhale, floating up. Open up the chest and exhale to forward fold into Paschimottanasana. Hands can come to the ankles, the shins, or even just to the floor. Doesn't matter how far the hands go. Rather focus your awareness into your back, opening up the heart. And then inhale, coming back to sit into Dandasana. Let's bring the soles of the feet together for Konasana. And you can interlock the fingers around the toes. Start to push the knees evenly to the floor so we don't pulse into the legs, but rather just create one long, slow push. And then gently tilting your way forward so you can stick the tailbone out as you do this, creating an anterior tilt into the pelvic bowl. And again, we really want to focus on what the spine is doing, keeping the spine lovely and long. Don't feel the need to sacrifice the spine in order to get your chin to the floor. That's not important. And And then returning to center. Lift the knees together again. Let's extend the left leg in front and then bring the right foot to the outer edge of the thigh. Lifting your spine up tall, twisting towards your inner thigh. So the left elbow wraps around your shin. Right hand just behind the sacrum. Drop the back shoulder down and lift your spine up. Squeeze into those abdominal muscles to help you rotate. And let's inhale, return to center, coming into the hamstring stretch now by turning the top foot to face behind you, placing more pressure onto the bottom leg as you gently fold. And you're going to feel this extra pressure on the leg really engages into that hamstring. So you might not fold as deeply as you normally do. That's absolutely fine. Just try to find lightness in this pose, and again, a straight spine. Be mindful what's happening in the shoulders. Pull them away from the ears. Lovely long neck. And then inhale to come back up to center. You're going to take that top leg and open it out wide to the side. So the foot is on the mat. Your shoulder is to the inside of your thigh. Let's bring this straight leg out to the side as well. So we're now in a nice wide V. Cross your hands, so the left hand comes to your right ankle, and then you can creepy crawly your right ankle a little bit further away. I like to hold onto my skin, otherwise I slide off. Top hand comes overhead, and I'm reaching my fingers towards my straight leg as I push my bent knee away. And this is a variation of Prasarita Janashasasana. And you should feel there's a lovely stretch across the rib cage. Finding that balance between activation and release. And then inhale, coming back up to center. Let's cross the ankles in front. Either ankle in front is fine. Just remember which one you've got there. And then just drop your chin to your chest, rounding into your back for a moment. Just soften into the space. And then inhaling to sit. We're now going to straighten into your right leg and bring the left foot to the outer edge of the thigh. Sit up tall, balancing onto the sitting bones, and then as you exhale, you twist towards your inner thigh. The left hand to the floor behind you, and then keep pushing your sitting bone down into the mat. It's going to stabilize the pelvis, also stretch into the outer edge of the glutes. Returning to center on an inhale and taking this into the hamstring stretch. So turn the foot to face back, stacking your knees on top of one another. Gently folding from here. Just being mindful of this additional weight on that bottom leg. If you have knee issues, sometimes this can feel like you're almost concaving the knee. You might need to slightly bend that bottom leg if you have hypermobility into those knees. Coming back to the center, let's open the foot out nice and wide. Bringing the straight leg out to the side. You now hold onto your left ankle and take the left hand over towards the straight leg. Now push your bent knee away from the chest and let your chest drop towards your straight leg. You're going to find that the activation is in the knee pushing away and the release is in the torso surrendering. And these two energies are going to create this deep stretch into the QLs. And then gently lifting back up. I'm going to cross the ankles again. Switching the ankles around, different ankle in front this time. And releasing your head down. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And sigh. Coming back up to center, and you're going to make your way to lie on your back. You can come straight down, roll onto your side, or come through a core roll, whatever feels best for you. And moving into Janushirsasana now, bending the knees hip distance parallel, quite close to the sitting bones. Let's anchor through the big toe side of the foot, and as you inhale, lifting the hips up to the sky. Walk your shoulder blades underneath the back body, maybe interlocking if you have space to do so. Be very mindful of your alignment here. Square the middle toe to the knee, to the hip, to the shoulder. And then let's slowly come down, open the shoulders out the way, rounding into the back as you lower. Restorative pose, feet wide, knees together, and arms out in a wide T shape. Let's take it into a second round. Come back to your original alignment, and then curling your way up. Walking the shoulder blades close in, maybe interlocking the fingers, or maybe bringing the hands underneath the hips. If you're doing the hands under the hips, please remember to keep the elbows in the same line as the shoulders, so not letting the elbows flare to the side. And then we lift those hips up, opening into the front body. So we're actually engaging into the back body. We're strengthening the muscles of the spine, of the glutes, of the hamstrings. And elongating the abdomen, the hip flexors, the iliopsoas. And when you're ready, you can curl yourself back down again into your restorative pose. We're going to work once more into our back bend, choosing either of the two variations of half bridge pose that we have already done. Hands interlocked or hands under the hips. If you can come into a wheel pose unassisted and you know that your back is safe doing that, you are very welcome to come into your wheel pose. Let's set ourselves up, feet hip distance parallel, hands next to the hips as you float the hips up. If you're coming into wheel pose, float the hands to the sky, bend the elbows, bring the hands under the shoulders, and inhale, lifting up. Wherever you are, check your alignment. Slowly come back down. Remember to tuck chin to chest so that you lower onto your shoulders and not onto the crown of the head. Roll the spine down one vertebrae at a time, and coming into Upasana, drawing your knees to your chest. Feel the restorative energy of your knees to chest pose, flattening through the back, but also broadening the back. If you like to roll from side to side, that can often be quite comfortable. But if you have a sensitive spine, then just stay into stillness. Deepening the restorative pose now into happy baby. And then making your way into a reclining twist of your choice. You can have knees together, one knee up, one leg down, or crossing the thighs into eagle twist. Open the arms out in a T shape and exhale to drop the knees to the side. And close your eyes here and really start to surrender into the posture. And let your breath become softer, letting go of ujjayi, but staying with a controlled, elongated breath. Let's draw to the center and switch to the other side. Inhale back to the center, unwrapping the legs as you hug the knees to your chest. You're going to prepare for Shavasana now, so maybe putting a jersey back on or getting a blanket ready as you make your way into your final relaxation pose. As with all yoga postures, our alignment is really important, so take your time to make sure that you're spread evenly. Lengthening and broadening. Taking a deep breath in and out. Start to run your thumb over the tips of your fingers, moving your toes, ankles and wrists, coming into a full body stretch, reaching your arms overhead as you draw the legs together, yawning or sighing. Bending your knees and rolling onto your side. Keeping your eyes softly closed as you lift into a comfortable seated position. Drawing your hands together at your heart center in Anjali Mudra. We'll close the class by chanting Om once and Shanti 3 times. Taking a deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Raising our hands to your third eye. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Lowering our hands to your lips, to your heart, to your mat, bowing forward in recognition of your practice. Blinking eyes open, inhaling to lift. Namaste.